So welcome if you're joining us for the recording. Let's come to sit at our mats now. So for our class this evening, we will be practicing what's known as a yogi's choice class. So what that means is I will present you with a target area in the body or a muscle group or what have you. And I will present you with two options or two poses that you can take that will target into that area in your body. You might need to try both poses in the practice tonight to get a sense of what works best for you in your body. And this is a great opportunity to customize a little bit what you're practicing tonight and to make you feel like you have a choice and also keep you engaged and interested in your practice. That said, even though I'm only presenting you with two options, a lot of you on the call and that watch this playback are all very experienced yin yogis now. And so if you know of a third option that I haven't shown you and that you know is a really good variation for your body, by all means, go ahead and take it. At the end of the day, you're the master of your own practice. So if there's an option other than the ones that I'm showing you that you know is going to target better into that area of the body, you go right ahead. By all means, do it. Okay? So we're just going to start with a very short grounding just so that we can land in our bodies and just begin to center very gently. Come to sit on some height, maybe your bolster or pillows or a folded blanket. And just gently here, rock a little bit side to side, just allow the sitting bones to get firm and planted on the floor. Sit up nice and tall. So actively now lengthen your spine up and out of your hips and your pelvis. Rest your hands on your knees, maybe palms down or perhaps palms facing up. Just notice and observe how you want to position even the hands. And close down your eyes. Relax the muscles of your face. And relax your shoulders. Soften your abdomen. And relax your hips and your sitting bones into your support. And come down now into your breath. Just notice here where you're currently breathing into. Maybe it's the abdomen, the ribs, or the chest. Just using your awareness, like a very focused laser beam, really hone in and see the quality of your breath right now. Once you've sort of laser focused your awareness on your breath, I invite you now at your own pace to very consciously practice 4 deep breaths. Breathing in very slowly. And then when the exhale approaches, consciously exhaling very slowly. And your last exhale approaches, slowing down the breath even more. Feeling the air gently leave the lungs, the ribs, and the abdomen. And allowing the breath to just gently return back to neutral here. And slowly now, begin to blink open your eyes, letting light enter back into the head. And very slowly now, just bring your arms down by your side. We're going to take 3 gentle movements with the breath before we begin. So when you're ready, inhale, bring the arms up overhead until the palms come together to touch. And your exhale, draw the palms towards heart center. 2 more times. Inhale, reaching and lifting the arms up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, draw the palms to heart center. 1 more time. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, palms to heart center. Bringing the arms down by your side. We'll begin here in our first category of poses in a forward bend of your choice. So our forward bend, we'd like to target into the inner thighs. So your option is butterfly pose, bringing the soles of the feet together and maybe rounding the spine forward as I'm doing here. And your second option is dragonfly, spreading the legs wide and possibly coming to round the spine forward. That said, if you're already feeling a stretch in either of these poses sitting upright with the spine, that's absolutely fine. As long as you're getting a stretch into the inner thighs, it doesn't matter which one you choose. So your choice here, dragonfly or butterfly. And use your props as necessary here. Or if you don't want to use props at all, that's absolutely fine. And try both. Even if you know both work for you, see which one works best. So as you come to settle here into this first shape of your choosing, just become very aware of this target area. And as we've practiced in many of our classes and sessions together in the past, I invite you to breathe into any areas where you're feeling resistance and tension. So in this case, if there is tension in the inner thighs, which there very well could be, because we are facilitating a stretch here, try to direct the breath to this space. You can use the breath as a tool to create expansion in the body. So we can begin to move unwanted energies, thoughts, or patterns that no longer serve our purpose, or perhaps even serve our higher power. And in yoga especially, is the invitation of choice. Yoga presents us with options so that we can live happier and healthier lives. In this case, it can even just show up as something as simple as choosing to end suffering in your life and finding freedom from suffering. And sometimes in our day-to-day, it can feel like we don't have a lot of choice, and that maybe we're stuck with patterns and thoughts. And we're holding on to them. And with the yin especially, we can begin to undo those and choose a different approach. And slowly now on your next inhale, begin to draw yourself up, coming out of your chosen shape and coming into a rebound of your choice here. Maybe sitting back on the hands, or you could even lay down entirely if you wish. By no means do you need to take the rebound that I'm doing. If you want to lay down or even take something like a child's pose, absolutely feel free to do that. You are a very experienced student of yoga now. You can do anything you want, which is the beauty of practice in general. Take a nice deep breath here. And exhale, release. Just notice and observe if there's any residual ache or tension or any shifts that have occurred here in this area of the body. We're making our way to our next pose. The next category of poses, we're looking to target the hamstrings, so the back of your legs, back of the thighs. Your first option is to come up to standing in dangle pose. Dangle pose is also very similar to Uttanasana. And you might like to step with feet about hip distance or more apart and come to fold your upper body over your legs. Your hands could be grabbing opposite elbow with opposite hand. Or if it's okay for you, you can drag the knuckles on the ground or even provide support there for your hands to land on if they don't quite reach the floor. Now, if you're trying to get more into the hamstrings in this pose, you might find it helpful to actually straighten the legs a little bit more rather than bending them, but I'll let you decide that. Your second option is to come into caterpillar pose, sitting down. Forward bend, similar to the first two. Legs are parallel with each other. They can be a little bit wider if need be. Sit up tall to begin. Inhale. Exhale, round the spine forward. Try both if you need to. You might find it also helpful in caterpillar pose to sit on some height. In this case, I will do that. Feels like a nice way to explore my forward bend here. And if you're wondering why I put height under my buttocks, or why I encourage you to do it, is it actually helps to tilt the pelvis forward, which can help you access the forward bend sometimes a little bit easier and a little bit more comfortably, which can then pull onto the hamstrings, which is where we want to target into here. So coming into your chosen shape, whether it's dangle, standing up and folding over your legs, or in seated, folding over your legs. Essentially, they're very identical poses. One's just standing and one's seated. They're exactly the same thing. But everyone experiences them differently. That's the unique thing about it. Slow, gentle breaths. Make sure you're breathing deeply into the space of your abdomen here, whether in dangle or in caterpillar. A good flow of breath will be important here. Take one more deep breath here. And then on your next inhalation, if you were in dangle pose, very slowly you'll want to begin to draw yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae. Don't stand up too quickly so you can avoid head rush. We want to make sure we're regulating the blood pressure here efficiently. If you are in caterpillar pose, try to also do the same thing here, drawing yourself back up, maybe using the hands to walk yourself back up to seated. And whether you were in dangle pose or in caterpillar pose, Stand or just sit here, keeping the spine nice and long. Drawing the shoulders down. Keeping the head stacked on top of your upper body here. Take a nice deep breath here for a moment. Exhale out through the mouth and release. If you are in dangle and you want to come down to the floor now, feel free. If you're in caterpillar and you want to sit back on the hands here just for a moment, that's fine. You might even like to also drop the head and the neck back just for a moment. Slowly coming up. Our next target area is the quadricep muscles. So the muscles on top of the thigh, and even working deep into the pelvis with muscles like the psoas muscle. Psoas muscles become a bit of a buzzword lately. More people are learning about it, and its greater effect on our ability to move and where we experience tension and tightness in our hips. So your first option is dragon pose. Come into your tabletop and step your right foot forward. You might like to place additional padding underneath your left knee here, or roll the outer edge of your mat in to sort of double pad your knee. Bring both hands on the inside of your right foot, push the hips forward. So we're facilitating a stretch on the left quad here. Now, if coming down into the hands is not good, feel free to place blocks or pillows underneath your hands, or bring your hands up and come to rest them on the thigh. So you can see here I'm sort of coming into a low lunge position. Okay? So that's dragon. That's your first option. Your second option is to actually come to lay down on your abdomen, and we're going to practice reverse saddle pose. You might like to use a strap for this. I'll try to see if I can show you on my own. Sometimes it's not easy to demonstrate this on camera. You need a little bit more time. So the general idea is this. You'll bend your left knee and, or actually, sorry, let's do the left knee. That was right. And you'll reach back and you're going to grab a hold of the foot or the ankle on the left side. Now, if you're not using any support, you can simply just stay here, support the head, or you could come to rest the forehead on the floor. This can actually facilitate a nice stretch in the upper body too. That said, if you can't reach the foot, you might find it actually very helpful to place a strap around the foot and the ankle itself. Now, of course, the one day I need to demonstrate this with a strap, it's not working well for me. Could be that I'm just very tight in my quads. So I'm actually just going to use the good old hand method because that works well for me. I can already feel and tell I'm not going to be able to reach back and demo that for you today. So I have tight quads. Good to know. I learned something new. Actually, I didn't. I knew that about myself. And you might too. You might know that you have very tight quadriceps here. So come into a variation that serves you best here. And of course, you might actually need to try both poses. And if you find you're sort of fiddling in the beginning, that's absolutely fine. This is just a great way to show you that not everything is perfect in our yoga class or in our practice. Sometimes we need to move and fiddle a little bit to sort of find the right way to practice our yoga. That just falls in line with the theme of the class, just the choice and ability to not be perfect even in our setup and how we get into poses. It's the choice to practice our yoga the way we want. Keep the breath flowing here. That will be very important, especially when you're laying on your abdomen, and most especially if you've taken dragon pose. Both poses in themselves can feel quite strong. We're not here too much longer. Just a couple more deep breaths. If you were in dragon pose, slowly begin to push the hips and the buttocks back. Step back to your tabletop pose, take a rebound of your choice. And if you were in reverse saddle like I am here on the front of your body, just lift your chest up a little bit, push the forearm into the floor, and then slowly and mindfully release the belt or the strap or whatever you're using if it's hooked to the foot. And then slowly release the foot, the knee, down to the earth. And just come to rest completely on the floor. If you want to rest on the floor and dragon pose in your rebound, that's totally fine. If you feel the need to take a more active and yang-like rebound, maybe something like a downward dog feels really nice here. So just feel now how perhaps you've created more blood flow and movement for energy and chi to travel in this area of the body. Take a deep breath. And big exhale. And when you're ready, and in your own time, please come into your quadricep stretch of your choice on the second side. If you're coming into dragon pose, this time you would step your left foot up between your hands. If you're laying on your abdomen, go ahead and bend that right knee this time. Reach back, grab a hold of the foot or the ankle. This side I might be able to actually demo for you because this side is a little bit better. Oh, there we go. There we go. So that's what it looks like here. If you have a strap and it connects with another piece, you might also like to actually hook your elbow into the strap, and then you can just allow the strap and the elbow or the shoulder to do all the work here, and you don't need to reach back with your hand. Now, of course, you might need to tighten this. In this case, I do. It's just a bit too loose. There we go, that's better. You make sure if you are in dragon pose that you are patting the bottom knee. Keep the breath flowing here. Breathing directly into the tension. And it may not even be physical tension. Maybe it's tension you're working with in the mind, in the thoughts. A couple more deep breaths here. Slowly, slowly begin to take the journey out of your chosen pose, whether it was dragon or laying on your abdomen here in the reverse saddle. Be very slow when you come out, be very gentle and mindful, especially on the knees. Come to take a rebound of your choice. Maybe it's laying down on your back or laying on your abdomen. You're just coming to completely relax your effort here as you now feel, notice both sides of the body here. Notice all the new blood flow and energy pathways that you've opened up. Inhale. Exhale. In your next inhalation, very mindfully, just push yourself up. Our next category of poses is for upper body. So your first option is melting heart pose. Melting heart, we come onto all fours. If you need any sort of pillow or support for your forehead or even your arms, you can place it there for yourself. In melting heart, we walk the upper body forward. Heart is melting down towards the earth, and the forehead either touches the floor or support. In this case, I'm using a bolster here tonight. That feels quite good. And your second option is actually a supported fish pose. Coming to lay over your pillows, your blocks or your bolster, so that your shoulders are right underneath the support and the arms are draped behind you. So your choice. I think that actually feels quite nice today. Supported fish. I think I'll do that. I thought I was going to do melting heart, but no, there you go. You might need to try both. There's no specific area here in the upper body that I want you to target directly into. We say upper body here, we're being quite general. That's intentional. Wherever gets into your upper body the most. And if you're not really sure what I mean by that, it can mean anywhere like the armpits, the shoulders, the biceps, anywhere where you're feeling a good stretch and sensation in this spot. As you come to land here in the shape, becoming aware right away with that very laser focus awareness like we practice in our centering in the beginning of practice. Laser focus here on what's occurring here in this stretch in the body, whichever one you've chosen. Where is the tension? Where are the areas that are feeling quite open, perhaps quite good today? But also, what could be occurring for you emotionally or mentally? Sometimes even certain poses will elicit certain feelings, or memories, or thoughts. And that's totally normal and welcomed. But it's the art of not getting entirely caught up with those thoughts or those memories, but sort of rather treating it like clouds in the sky. You see them there. They're always coming into your line of vision and then away as they pass by. So tension physically in the body and then thoughts in the mind or emotions will flow in and they will flow out. Or at least that's the intention anyways. Take one more deep inhalation here. Using your next breath, if you were in melting heart pose, one hand at a time, slide the hands back and towards you. Gently push yourself back up. If you were in supported fish like I am, draw the elbows down towards the support if not already there. You might like to bend the knees a little bit to help you. And with your inhale, curl your head, your neck, and then your shoulders up. Push the elbows into the support and come up to seated. Take a rebound of your choice, ladies. You could either come to lay down on your back, or if you took melting heart pose, you might like the idea of actually taking a cat and cow as your rebound, in a more moving rebound. These again are just suggestions. You don't need to take these. So as you come into your chosen rebound, if you wish, perhaps take a deep breath and a full exhale. And very slowly now, we'll make our way into our next category of poses, which is a twist. In this case, it's a real twist. It's not a plot twist. So your first choice is twisted deer pose. We begin through dragonfly to get there. You'll bend your left knee, so the sole of the foot comes into the inner thigh. Lean really far over to the left hip and buttock as you swing the right leg back behind you. Now you create these two L shapes, if you will, with your legs. Turn the upper body towards the left side. Lengthen the spine, inhale, and then exhale. You might begin exploring sort of a forward bending action here in your twist, in your deer pose. And of course, place support here under the abdomen or the forearms if you want something to land on. If this is not your pose this evening, your next option would to come by laying down on your back, bend both of your knees, hug the knees into the chest, and in your own time, come to splay the knees all the way over to the right side in a gentle supine twist. So your choice, either twisted deer or supine twist. You can use props in any way for both of these shapes. The target area here is for the spine, but the lower body can also indirectly get targeted here. And we're pretty general with that, so whatever feels great for your back and your spine, you're invited to take that shape. Gentle breaths here in your twist. Very, very slowly, using your next inhalation, begin to take the exit slowly out of your pose. If you were laying on your back in a supine twist, draw the knees back up through center. If you were in twisted deer, draw the upper body back up. Make sure you exit twisted deer the same way you came in. So lean very far off to the left hip and buttock. And then gently, gently begin to draw the right knee back up in front of you. Take a deep breath here, whether in seated or laying on your back. Exhale, release. And coming right into the second side in your twist, whether in twisted deer or in your supine twist. Take the time to set up the body appropriately. Gentle breaths here as you now begin to settle into this side. Slowly and gently, using your next inhalation, begin to take a very slow exit out of your pose. And I invite you here to collectively join us on the floor, laying on your back. if you're not already there. In a rebound, feeling the effects here of the twist in the spine. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, release. Our final category of poses is a restorative pose. So collectively, we can begin to bend both of our knees, press the soles of the feet on the floor. You'll find it helpful here to have pillows, a bolster, or even a couple of rolled blankets is fine. Lift up your hips with your next inhale and slide your support underneath your lower back, or rather I should say your sacrum. So your first option here is little bridge pose, as I'm doing here in this shape. Your second option is to actually begin to bend the knees into the chest and then extend the legs up towards the sky in waterfall pose. Now we're not here incredibly long in these more restorative like yoga poses. We're just here as a way to gently begin to enter our final rest. If you've chosen little bridge, focus on the breath and allow the sacrum to rest into your support. And if you were in waterfall pose, allow the femur bones to get very heavy in the hip sockets. If you find it helpful to bend the knees a little bit here, that's fine. You might also like to gently rotate the ankles a couple of times, or even point and flex the feet. Couple deep breaths here in your chosen restorative pose. If you were in waterfall pose, as I'm doing here with the legs extended, slowly begin to bend your knees in towards your chest. Bring the soles of the feet on the floor here, just for a couple more breaths, as we all end here in little bridge. And then collectively, with your next inhale, lift up the hips and the buttocks. Slide your support out from underneath your knees. Gently roll, or underneath your sacrum, I should say. Gently roll the support now underneath your knees. As we now begin to make our way into our final and most important posture of the practice, Shavasana. Take a choice here in how you want to set up the body. With lots of support or little. Perhaps you're covering yourself with a blanket if you're cold. Choose to take up lots of space or not much space. Take one more deep inhalation here as you begin to settle. Exhale out through the mouth as you release and relax the body. Your only focus now is to deeply rest. Slowly, gently, take an awakening breath here. Gently begin to send flickers of movement in your fingers and in your toes. Gently rotate your wrists and your ankles. Bring the arms overhead. Give yourself a nice big stretch. Very mindfully now, bend your knees into your chest and give yourself a very loving and generous squeeze, only if that feels supportive to the body. Gently roll now to your preferred side. And please join me here in seated, sitting with a nice tall spine and the eyes closed down. As you come to sit tall, just notice and observe all the new space that you've created in the body. Notice and observe all the amazing things that your practice has provided you this evening. Please bring your palms together in an Anjali Mudra at the altar of your heart. Bow your head slightly down towards your hands. Inhale now into the heart space. Exhale, release. Always know, lovely ladies, that you have a choice, especially with your yoga practice. The choice in the way forward to living a happier, a whole and healthy life through yoga and mindfulness and breath. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your wonderful practice with me this evening. Namaste. Thank you so much, ladies, for allowing me to guide you through this practice this evening. I hope you found this to be beneficial, and hopefully the body's feeling a little bit more open and free. I know mine is. I really needed that quad stretch today. Who would have thought? So I'm going to end the recording now, and I'll just come to the screen to say goodnight to each of you. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have a great night if you're here for the recording.